Good evening, folks, and welcome to Scrolling with Charlie, the uh, midday show. I'm getting kind of confused here, but it's season 1, episode 5. Unfortunately, Charles couldn't be with us today. He has anxiety or panic attack, so he had one earlier this morning, and trust me, I have him too. I know what he's feeling. So he's going to opt out and should be back tonight. Hopefully, I keep my fingers crossed. So hope you get feeling better, buddy, and we'll try to get this done and get it done right. But a few of the things we're going to talk about today are copyright issues, some of the places you can get free scroll saw patterns from, and also we're going to talk a little bit about the YouTube experience and trying to get others to do that. And I got Mark just to let me know that the live link is actually working today. Holy, well, it did something right. I do want to take just 1 second to say, I don't know what. It was my responsibility for the show last Saturday night, and I'm doing it the exact same way that I'm doing this broadcast, and for some reason I couldn't get it to work, so I have no clue as to what happened. So sorry about that. Nothing I can do about it now, but I think first we're going to talk on the subject of copyright issues. There's a lot of controversy out there about this subject. I know people have beat it to death, but I'll just touch base on what I actually, without a shadow of a doubt, know. Number one is any kind of NFL, NASCAR, Harley Davidson, any college football team especially. And even most of your high schools, in all sincerity, people don't realize, but most of your high schools also, they have their team trademarked and copyrighted. So if you plan on making one of this am I highlighting myself now? So if you plan on making one of these patterns for yourself and making something as a project for yourself, that's fine. There's really no issue with that. You can make I'm a Florida Gators fan. I make a lot of stuff Florida Gators, but I don't sell it. It's for my own personal use. I have it in my own home, so that's pretty well all right. But when you start getting into the fact that you're going to start making stuff with these logos on it and trying to sell them, if you get caught, you're going to find yourself in some very serious litigation issues. I mean, it's going to far outweigh how much you could ever hope to make off of the products that you're going to try, or the emblem you're going to try to do. Matter of fact, I think it's hanging right up here behind me. Now, this is a emblem for the Florida Gators I did for my own self. So this is fine. This is for my own personal use. I keep it here in the shop. I'm a Florida Gators fan, so something like that is totally fine for your own personal use. You have anything you want to touch base on that? Talk about, Mark?
I think I was thinking about the same thing for Nebraska emblem, since I'm in Bellevue, Nebraska here, and I know there is a website or a link to on their university page that if you wanted to, do their emblem or sell their emblem, you need to have their permission for it. So that's what you need to do a little bit of research if you want to get into that type of business. If you're promoting their university or whatever you're doing, college team or professional team. So if you want to do it, do your research and find out what you need to do exactly to make sure you're doing it right.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. As far as the research, I'm not going to mention any names, but I just had this controversy on the forum, on Steve's Good Forum, where I'm a moderator. Scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com is his site, with the forum on there. And a guy actually asked, he's starting to learn how to make what I call the word-on-word, and he was wanting to use Alabama in the background and then Roll Tide or Crimson Tide on the front with that word-on-word, and asked if he could, if he made something like that, could he sell it? And I immediately responded back as a moderator and told him no, you would be violating copyright, trademark, and it's copyright trademark. I think it's a trademark issue. I think those logos and sayings are trademark, not copyrighted. But to me, it's kind of like one and the same. I know it's different. I know people are going to say, "Whoa, no, there's a difference between a copyright and a trademark." Yes, there is, but it's all to me in the same boat. If you violate one, you're getting deep duty either way you go. So. But and then somebody else popped on. Well, that if you wanted to use like Roll Tide, I know Roll Tide is just a word. It's not copyrighted. I immediately Googled Alabama Crimson Tide and logos and stuff, and found out they got 36 between logos and sayings for the Alabama Crimson Tide that are trademark copyrighted. And among them is, right off the bat, Roll Tide. In other words, you can say Roll Tide, you can do it whatever you want, but the Roll Tide thing is trademarked, copyrighted for them. So if you were to make a pattern and use that, you would be breaking the copyright trademark issues. And I'm just saying that to say that you need to be very specific. There's a lot of I know of a person that made the song that Alan Jackson sang with Jimmy Buffett is 5 o'clock somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, I know that a few people were making clocks, and they had put it's 5 o'clock somewhere on their clocks, and they got popped and told cease and desist order. You can't make those and sell them. They've got that it's 5 o'clock somewhere, trademark copyrighted. So you really need to consider when you're making a pattern, you're wanting to sell it. If you need to do the research and find out before you make cross that line and make them and sell them. And because if it's trademark or copyrighted, you could have a letter from a lawyer doing a cease and desist, and they're going to go after the lawyer's expenses. They're going to want to know how much, try to figure out how much you've sold, what kind of a profit you've made off of it, how long you've been selling them. I mean, let me tell you, it opens up a whole can of worms that you just really don't want to get into. So I would suggest play it safe and do your research, or just don't do them. If you do them for your personal use.
Right.
So I was looking to see. Do we have anything over in the Q&A?
Nothing yet.
Okay. All right. So if we don't have any more questions on that issue on the Q&A, I was hoping we'd get some feedback from people asking.
We do have 7 watchers though right now.
We do have 7 watchers. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I don't know of anything else I can touch on that subject. Trying to think about it.
I know, when I first started got into scroll sign in the 90s or so, that you would take your magazine or your pattern to Kinko's or whatever it was. They wouldn't want to photocopy that stuff because of the copyright things, and there wasn't something on the pattern that says, okay, you're free to make, such and such, so many copies. Like I just bought this Inco pattern from Kathy Wise, and it says, okay, you can make 10 copies or whatever for your personal use. Like, sure, make your copies for your thing, but don't sell your copies that you're doing. You
right.
Can't sell your pattern that you just bought for X amount of dollars, but you're free to make the copies. And I know they didn't have that on the magazines, or at least a lot of the patterns way back when. But that's something I guess you're seeing more often now, or pretty much all the times that it's free for you to make as many copies as you need for personal use. So
you're absolutely right about that. And if I'm not mistaken, Steve Good himself, when he was making a lot of his patterns, he didn't put on, or he did or didn't put on there about how many copies you could make, and they were having. People did not want to make more than one copy, or make copies of some of his patterns because of that issue. They did not want to get into the problem that it could of making copies. Most of your patterns from Sue May, Sheila Landry, it's okay to make multiple copies and to use them to make pattern. That's what they're selling them for you to make your product and sell the product. But it's definitely not right to sell the pattern or pose it as your own. And in all sincerity and morally, it's not right to give it to other people too and share. That's how these people are making their living. So I mean, you buy a pattern from Sue May and or Charles Deering. you buy one of his patterns and make about 4 or 5 copies, or if it comes in a PDF form, you can say to your friends, well, here, take this.
No, yeah. Here's where you can buy it from. Yeah.
Yeah. You point them in the direction of the art. That's how these people are making a living. Point them in the direction of the artist and say, hey, go here and buy as many as you want, but don't give it away. I mean, that's not right.
Yeah, I just downloaded Steve Good's pattern from the other day. He sends the email out every morning. I bought or at least I downloaded the phone foot. I don't know if you've seen that before. It holds your phone up. That's pretty cool. But he does have it is copyrighted for Steve Good, but he says, note to commercial print employees, I give my permission to print as many of this pattern book as your customer requires. So you don't see it anywhere, but that's what you need to.
That's what I was talking about. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, in the beginning, because Steve and I have been friends for a few years now, he did not put that on there, and people were not wanting to therefore make copies or even make multiple copies of it. And I think he ended up putting that on there just for that reason. So.
Yep, he's got it on his first page of his downloads that you do. So.
I was pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah, so just make sure you go to the copy, FedEx or Kinko's or whatever the heck, the UPS store. Make sure you have that. They're going to look for it. They're going to turn you away. So.
I got on my Q&A. I've got somebody is asking Plastrum Crafts, I believe it is, and I'm not sure. Do you see that?
Is it on the YouTube or the?
No, it's actually on the Hangouts. But anyway, they're saying, how do people get away when they use film stars photos to make a scroll saw pattern? Surely the photo belongs to someone and therefore it is copyrighted. Yes and no. Some of your older film stars that have been out there for like years upon, like John Wayne, for instance, their pictures are just so many of them out there that they even might have been trademarked or copyrighted. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think the copyright or trademark might have ran out. So, and then a lot of your film stars also, they really don't care if their portrait is, how do I want to put it? It's like free. It's free to put. Yeah, there's nothing on it that you can. It's out on the internet and it's free for you to use. So that's one of the exceptions to the rule. Is these portraits of like John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart. Who else can you think of, Mark? Some of these older film stars, even Elvis Presley, for instance. A lot of that thing, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure a lot of that is trademarks and might have actually ran out over the years and haven't been reapplied for, so they're able to get by that way. And then, like I said, a lot of the movie stars, they don't care. It's like,
well, it's like I think it'd probably be more the photographer that would care than the star itself, because. But the star is like, well, you're promoting their image, so it's like I wouldn't care too if someone, that's my business, if they want to show a picture of me, it's like sure, so go for it. But I guess the photographer, as long as the photographer got his or her royalties for it, I guess that's what they're looking for. Or
yes,
the star.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, it applies to them. Yes, in a way, it does apply to those type of photographs and everything, but. Like I said, once again, it's if they are copyrighted, most of the stars do not care, or trademarked, and most of the stars do not care. Well, I tell you what, that's a real good question, because I know that they're out there. I know a lot of people do them, and a lot of people sell the stars portraits, and it's obviously they're not getting into trouble because it's being done in a broad base of a lot of people doing those type of patterns, but. I'm pretty sure that what I'm saying is that the trademark or copyright has ran out, and then also that I think there was a ruling on that. If I'm trying to think in the back of my mind, as you get older, you forget things, but there was a ruling that is if a star's portrait, or that's how they make their living, is off their face or whatever, and so therefore it's all over the place. So it's kind of like free reign to use it, but.
Right.
It's something that I would have to research a little bit better to be able to answer that particular question 100%. So like I said, I know that nobody's getting in trouble, and there's a lot of people that do those kind of portraits. I guess that
Well, a lot of things that you see people do is, they Google copyright-free images, so that's
Yeah.
why a lot of these, come out. So
There's also I'll warn you about a scam that's on there, and I can't think of the name of the company that's doing it. A lot of these people that there's a company out there, and I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a company out there that's following a lot of photographs and stuff that people's work on, like Pinterest, and there's another photo site that people post stuff, and I can't think of the name of it. I just read this the other day. It was on Facebook and a couple other places. But anyway, what they're doing is going to these people and they're buying the copyrights for that photograph. And then, so if you use that photograph, they're sending you a cease and desist order and telling you they're going to sue you because they actually own the copyrights of it. So that's kind of, from my understanding, that's a scam. It's not actually true. They may own the copyrights, but they're not. The owners haven't. So in some cases, the owners haven't sold them the copyrights. They're making a false accusation. So I know that that's going on out there too. I just read it the other day. I think Sheila Landry even posted an article on Facebook. So if you're a friend of hers, you can go back through and scroll through, and they had talked about that also. So just be careful about that.
I just googled copyright images on the website here. This is all works published in the United States before 1923 are in the public domain. Works published after 1922 but before 1978 are protected for 95 years from the date of publication.
Yeah.
If the work was created but not published before 78, the copyright lasts for the life of the author plus 70 years. So,
okay.
There you go.
Yep. So there you go. Yeah, John Wayne has passed, so he's no longer around. So, okay, what was the other thing we were going to talk about? Where to find free scroll saw patterns. Yeah, forgot about that one. There's a lot of places out there that you can find them, and I believe that Mark has taken the time to make a list. I don't have it in front of me, so he's capable of. You want to read off the list, some of the places that you found?
All right, this is just a quick list. I'm sure there's tons of them out there that we are not aware of yet, but just doing a quick Google search, start at the top of the list and not in any alphabetical order whatsoever. Craftsman Space / free projects. Steve Good, we highlight his name quite often in this forum or YouTube area here, and Steve's got everything on his site. It's pretty much free. The Scroll Saw Village. Earlier, Russ mentioned that you do need to be a member for Scroll Saw Village, and we're not sure if they're still taking members in. But if you're currently a member for Scroll Saw Village, feel free to take advantage of all the free patterns there. Pinterest is not just for women; it's for guys also. So Pinterest is a great place. Sheila Landry, although Sheila does charge for a lot of her patterns, she still does like patterns of the month, I believe, or she has some free patterns there. ScrollSawVideo.com, he has a lot of free patterns on his site. Sue May has some free patterns, as you know, just like I said for Sheila. Sue has stuff for sale, but she also has some for free. Scroll Sawyer. How would you say Sawyer.com? There's a forum there, and they have a free scroll saw pattern vault. Saw for Fun is another site. One thing I ran across, I think it's Mike's Workshop that used to do the Mike's Sell the Blades. That's probably the same website here. He has a whole list of his favorite sites, and within that favorite sites has a ton of free sites. So free patterns on his link there. One is called absolutelyfreeplans.com and /scrollsaw. Has a lot of good patterns there. Scrollsaw.com. And one that Russ just found out is arppop.blogspot.com. And I suppose we could pop all these links on YouTube. So
yeah, he's got all the links, and what I'll do is after the video, if I don't get it up to date, or I'll have Charles do it, but we'll post all those that we've read, Mark's read off just now. We'll post those in the comment section on the YouTube video for y'all to use and access. Back to the Scroll Saw Village, they have a lot of free patterns on there that people make and post them for people to use and share. And like I said, you have to be a member in order to access the patterns. At least the last time I was on there, you did. And also, I don't know if they're still taking, if they're full or not. But if not, try it anyway. I mean, it's worth a shot. But there's a lot of good information on that site also. And we can't forget our one and only Charles Deering. Charles Deering also has free scroll saw patterns that he posts on his website. So I believe his is woodenvisions.com.
That's right.
Yeah, woodenvisions.com. So we'll get all those posted in there on the comments section on YouTube so you can find them. But there are a ton of free patterns. Steve Good, I don't know if he's ever charged. The only thing that he charges for is I noticed that a lot of people requested that they wanted his him to make CDs of all of his patterns, and I remember talking to him, and he really didn't understand why they wanted that, due to the fact that they're on his site. All of his patterns are on his site all the time. But I think people found it couple of reasons. They found it convenient to have a CD just to plug in. And somebody a viewer, if I'm not mistaken, brought up the fact, well, what happens if something happens to you? What happens to all those patterns? And that's true. I mean, if something was to happen to him, where do all those patterns go? They're going out into oblivion, you know. So nobody takes over his site or takes care of it. So he ended up making some CDs, and he does sell those CDs. He's not really making a big profit off of it, trust me, but just to those people that want those CDs, he will sell them to you, and it's on his site, so you can have a personal copy of all of his patterns. I don't see how the man does it, but he loves making patterns and has been producing patterns like at a rate of 3 or 4, one a week, 3 or 4 a month since I've known him for the last 3, 4, 5 years. So
every day you get an email from him. So the new pattern, pretty much. I don't know if it's on the weekends also, but you know, every morning I wake up and there's an email from Steve Good with another free pattern. So
yeah,
you can't beat that. So yeah.
No, you can't beat that with a stick. And there's a lot of just go into Google, and I tell you another good search engine I like also is Bing. Bing is I know it's sponsored by Microsoft, but I like the way that if you'll type in free scroll saw patterns and click on the image or picture part of it, it'll actually show you pictures of all the free scroll saw patterns that are out there. So you can go down through there and choose, and then they should have links to the site where they're at. I notice I'm sitting over here watching, and there's some people still posting some questions, and this goes back to the copyright issue. I will answer this one, even though I'm going back a little bit. But what about comic characters from Disney or Marvel Comics? Those are a no-no. Your Disney characters, your Superman, your Batman, those are also a no-no. They will definitely hammer you for those. They're just as bad. Pretty much any of that stuff that's out there, any big company, especially Disney World and Marvel, I mean, those are your Hulk, all that stuff. Now, like I said, it's okay to make it for your personal use and everything. That's fine. So, but yeah, all those are under that same thing. I'm trying to think of some more places, but if you will Google in, we'll go back to the pattern part of it. If you will Google into about the free scroll saw patterns, like I said, put it also on Bing, you will be able to find that those a lot of free patterns that are out there. A lot of people can use silhouettes. You can take a silhouette and turn it into a pattern, especially if it's like of a garden character or something. You can use that to make something for your garden. You can turn that into a pattern. So, but that pretty well covers that. And then the next thing, last thing we want to put out there is for all y'all people that have not tried the experience of putting yourself out there on YouTube. We would like to. I know Charles would like to encourage people. We're trying to get Mark. Sherman here, he hasn't done it as of yet. We're trying to get him to do it. It's time consuming. You have to take your time as far as being able to put commitment into doing these. It's not quite as easy as what you've seen. I've only got like maybe 5 out. I'm fixing to put another one out, but it's time consuming, and a lot of people, the only time they have to do it is on weekends, and they also have families. But if you have the opportunity or the time and you can put out your scroll saw videos, show us what you're doing. You'd be surprised. I know there's a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of people now jumping on the bandwagon of YouTube. Heck, I'm just starting out, and I'm doing it too now. But I think what it has to offer is everybody the individuality of the woodworker. It shows in the expression of their work on YouTube. So you can you don't think you're that good, or you may not think you have that much to offer, but trust me, you might be doing something that you don't even realize that you're doing that may help another woodworker out, and they're saying like, holy crap, I've been doing it this way, and that is 10 times easier than the way I'm doing it. So I think there's enough room for everybody. Everybody has something to offer out there. I would like to encourage more people, if they want to start trying to do YouTube videos. It's not easy. I learned a lot. I've only done like 5 or so, and I always have filmed my family and always have had video cameras ever since. And when you step in, there's something about stepping in front of that camera and actually having to perform, so to speak, or do something live for the audience. It changes the whole perspective. And time consuming, yes. It's not only you got to make the video, but then you got to turn around and try to edit, and then you got to upload it onto YouTube. And if you've got a 30-minute video that you're uploading, even an I have high rate speed internet access, it still takes time. I've spent 20-30 minutes waiting on the video to upload to YouTube.
Right.
Have anything to go on or say about that, Mark?
I promise to get a video out there someday, whether it's like a bunch of stills put to music and it's like, here's my work, or here's a little bit of this or that, but I promise to get something out there. I have 2 more Intarsia Eagles to do, so hopefully off of one of those I'll put something together for it. So
yeah.
But definitely do put your stuff out there, because like Russ says, it's regardless of how many times you've seen a certain person do whatever, or 10 people do a project, it's done differently each time, and you pick something up. I can't tell you how useful YouTube is to me as far as learning, whether it be a new program like SketchUp or anything. It's you pick up the tips and tricks and how-tos and whatever, and it's like, oh, it rings a bell, and next thing you know, your life is a little bit simpler, or maybe sometimes a little bit more difficult, because you don't have the skills that they do, but at least you're out there looking for it and you're trying. So that's the best part about it.
Yeah, like I said, it's definitely a whole new experience for me. I can understand that a person that works a normal job 8 to 5 days a week. First off, when you come home, you probably don't feel like doing anything. But if you got an opportunity a weekend that you're not doing anything, definitely try to fire off a video. We've got Charles and I have met a bunch of friends out on the Maritime Woodworkers, Summers Woodworking. Just trying to think of a few. I can't. But those 2 are right off the top of my head. Steve French, he's one guy that's out there that I've met. Matter of fact, I found out he lives within a few miles of me, and we had lunch the other day. It was real nice meeting him and talking to him. And I've got a couple other friends that do scroll saw work within that I can travel and see them also around here. So we just want to encourage give it a try. I mean, what have you got to lose? A little time. If you have a video camera. Most of your phones nowadays, your iPhones and your Samsung Galaxy and those, they have an incredible amount of storage space on them, and also the quality has just gotten so unreal. Some of these YouTube videos that I've been watching, I didn't even realize were shot with a camera, video off their video off their phone, and I was like, wow, I was really impressed as how well it works.
I think Patrick uses his iPad, I believe, right?
Yeah, Patrick. Patrick's Workshop. That's another friend of ours. Patrick's Workshop. He's on YouTube also, and yes, I believe you're right. I think he uses his iPad to film a lot of his stuff. So there's other different avenues. You're not just stuck to having to get a camera. If you got a phone, you can use that or whatever. What would you say, Mark?
We do have a question about his format from Buffalo Works Ron. He says, "What format do you use to upload YouTube?" He says, "And what do you use to edit the videos?" As far as editing videos, I've I've tried one, and I've used the iMovie for my Mac. So I'm strictly Mac here, not PC. So I use iMovies. So, but I'm not familiar with what Russ. I think you have a Corel Photo
Yeah.
Studio.
I use Corel Video Studio Pro X7. I had X3 for years and really loved it. There are a lot that actually Microsoft. What's the name of the one that Microsoft? A lot of people use it is for free that they produce.
Is it the stuff that comes on your regular operating system for Mac?
Well, I don't know if it's the operating system or not, but Microsoft they have one out there that's free also that a lot of people. I think Mark Stallings uses that one that's free from Microsoft. I know that he's produced a couple of videos. But there's a Sony Video Studio, I believe. That's out there. There are quite a few, and there's also quite a few out there that's free. Now, your format to upload to YouTube, usually they're accepting the better quality is an MP4, an MPEG-4. That's what I see mostly being produced and put up out there. So apparently these people, your phone quality is good enough. The newer phones are good enough because I see them up there all the time.
I think does Mark Stallings use Movie Maker? Does that sound familiar?
Movie Maker, there you go. That's the one I'm looking. And I think that's a Microsoft product, and I think it's free.
It is. It is, yeah.
That's it, exactly. I'm glad you found that. Yeah, Movie Maker from my Microsoft. It's not got all, now, if you want all the frills and all the other stuff, you're going to have to go with some, wasn't there a Sony Vega or there's some kind of Vegas out there software I've heard of. There's also Pinnacle Studio. Pinnacle puts out a product for editing, but most of these now are they cost you. You're gonna have to pay for the editing software, but usually you get so much more when you pay for that software that it can do than what some of the free stuff can do. That just goes without being said. You got a lot more. I call them. Charles laughs at me when I say it, but I call it. You got bells and whistles. They got a lot more bells and whistles. So.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. he laughs at me every time I say it.
It's what they are. They're bells and whistles. So, but then these programs are complex, but take advantage of YouTube again, and watch the videos and the tutorials of how to manipulate videos. So, there's almost all these programs have videos out there saying this is how you work this, or this is how you edit it. So, take advantage of that. So. Yeah,
that's a very good point that you may have brought up. That if you have this software and you're not quite sure how to use it, I've typed in this after I bought my software, the new X7. There was a lot of features on it that I had no idea how to use, and I typed in and got some tutorials on YouTube on how to use the software and learned how to make some changes and make my videos better. So, and even for I think for the other all of them. If you want to learn how to do some of this stuff, just type it in on YouTube, and a lot of people are producing videos of how to make videos to post on YouTube. So, but yeah, it's not really rocket science. It's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy because I've had to learn a lot to be able to post, but it's not rocket science in the fact that other people are doing it. I'm sure if you get the video and everything, you won't have that much trouble getting it uploaded. And I believe it, like I said, it's an MP4 that I think there's other formats. I think it's FOV. There's a format they accept FOV.
ABIs?
Do what?
ABIs, is that another one?
Yep, I think that's another one. There's several formats that they will take and upload. I do MP4 because it's supposed to be the highest quality, but yet the takes up the less time to upload and distribute across the internet or have it on the internet for streaming and stuff. So that's what I use. I upload it as an MP4.
I think MPEG-4 is like kind of universal, I suppose, between different platforms. The formats for YouTube is the .mov, MPEG-4, MP4, AVIs, WMV, MPEG-PS. FLV, is that what you were thinking?
Yep, FLV, that's it, not FOV, FLV, that's what I was thinking.
And 3GPP and WebM. So,
man, what would I do without you? I did not know it took all those.
I Google a lot. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing that for me because it helps me out a bunch. But there you go. There you have it. There's the, Mark just said all of the formats that it takes. Most of your software nowadays, I mean, they've kind of universally came around that everything kind of like works together. I know that
Well, I'll ask you what kind of format you want to save it for the website or for a mobile device or whatever.
Yeah. Now my camera, I use two different types of cameras. Let me move this one. This is a DV camera that I use that I bought years ago, back before they even had a lot of the. This was back in this day. This was really high definition at its best. But it uses the little DV tapes. We'll go ahead and talk about this for a few minutes. The problem with this, or it's not really a problem, but when you're using this kind of a camera, this is an older camera, like I said, but it still works great. And the reason I continue to use this one in particular is because it has an auxiliary mic port where I can plug in an external microphone, and that makes a lot of difference in the sound quality. It does pretty good with its own normal speaker, but that's one of the reasons I keep this around and keep using it. Now, if you put 60 minutes of video on this tape, which that's what it'll hold, it takes 60 minutes to get it off. In other words, the computer, yeah, you have to hook it up to the computer. Matter of fact, there's a laptop sitting right here, and it's an older laptop. It's running Windows XP on it, and I keep it around just for the reason of this camera. You have to hook the cord to the front of the camera, and then it will download, it will record onto the computer, and it actually records it as an AVI. So it pulls it off of this, records it to that computer as an AVI, and then I have to take it off of that computer and take it into, actually the laptop that I'm on right now is where I do my editing, but I'll bring it off that computer onto this laptop and edit it, and then the Video Studio Pro will turn it in from an AVI into a MPEG-4 to upload. It'll do several different other formats also. That's not just limited to that one format. Another one I use which I really like, this one also. I don't know if it's got a disc in it or not. I'm looking around to see. I had one up here. But this one is the other. I love Canon. Canon makes a real good camera. My daughter's a professional photographer, and she owns a Canon camera, and it takes beautiful, beautiful pictures. But now this one records to, I'm trying to get it to open up here. A little slow. There it goes. And there's one in there. This one records to the mini DVDs.
Are they rewritable, or are they just write-only?
You can get rewritable. I had some problems with the rewritable, and they are really not that expensive. You can get like 25 of these for like, less than $10. When they first come out, they were a little expensive, but now they're not expensive at all. You can get like up to 30 minutes of video. You can set it, or you can get more. 30 minutes. The quality is really, really high def quality. This even shoots in widescreen format. Now, what I like about this is shooting onto this is I immediately can take this out, put it into my computer, and boom, it's there. There's no waiting 60 minutes to get it off of that camera. It's immediately on my computer, immediately ready for editing. So I really like. Now the downfall of this one is it does not have an external mic, so you have to rely totally on the microphone on the camera. And just I've tried on my first few videos, that's all I was using was a microphone on the camera. And my brother came along. He is into DJing and karaoke, and he gave me to try a boom mic, and I did it. I went out and also I went to Radio Shack and picked up a lapel mic. On that one video, a lot of people were complaining that there was only one channel, and I found out later on that lapel mic was not stereo; it was one channel. So people were saying they could only hear me in one ear. Well, they were right, because you want stereo if you can get it. But he gave me this. Now, the only thing I don't like about this is it kind of looks kind of funky as I'm doing my videos. Yeah, it kind of looks like I'm on a radio broadcaster or a news broadcaster or whatever. But the quality of this one now is very, very good. In that last video that I did, it started off with a lapel mic. You should be able to see that I have the lapel mic. People said the volume and it wasn't good at all. I went to this, but I stayed out of the picture and didn't film myself with it on. But the volume, it went, wow. You could hear myself crystal clear. Even when I was running and do the scroll saw at one point, I was talking and you can hear me perfect, even over the scroll saw. So this is just a little mic that he gave me. It comes with a receiver over there. It's got two antennas. So I'm going to try this. I know it looks a little funky, but the problem that I also experienced, this will come off of here, and you can wear it as a lapel mic. But I found out the problem was when I was moving around, if it would come in contact with my beard or my clothes or whatever, it would make a god-awful noise.
Yeah, it's scratching.
Yeah. So, and I started reading, and a lot of people have problems with the lapel mics doing that as far as making that kind of. Other people say, no, I've got one and it's never had a problem, but I did read that there are other people were experiencing that problem. So the next time I do a YouTube video, you're probably going to see me wearing this crazy thing. So.
You know, then you know, if you don't talk during your videos and you got the saw running or table saw or what have you, it's like, well, just do a voiceover after you got done downloading it, you know. And, it's kind of like what we do when we do our videos here on Charlie's show in the evenings. If we're going to show a tutorial, it's like we just show the video and then talk through it as we're showing the video instead of actually doing the voice during it. So.
Yes, you can do that, and I think Patrick on a couple of his last videos he did totally when he created Patrick over at Patrick's woodshop. He did his, shot them, and then come back and did the talk of the voiceover afterwards. So that is definitely, if you're having a problem with your the volume on your camera, it's not seem to be working good, or you're creating a lot of background noise, that is definitely an option that you can come in and voice over and talk about the whole thing. So that's a very good point there, Mark.
You have time to write your script after you shot the video, because some people can't really on the fly think of what to say as they're cutting a pattern or whatever. It's like you're trying to get a lot of dead space or dead time, you know, air time. So just go ahead and shoot the video and come back and talk about it later. So.
I hope I'm saying this right. Plostrum Crafts put up there also. I've done a few videos, but never a scroll saw video. Any tips on which bits to show and which bits to leave out? Yeah, there's. I've heard a lot of people say that as soon as they hear the music, they just mute the whole thing because they get turned off by somebody putting in music. Do what?
And speed it up.
Yeah.
Don't show the whole thing. It's like,
yeah, if I was to take a project that I have done and cut out the whole entire thing and video the whole thing, and I think Charles videos a lot more than I do of his, and whereas to just play that normally, you'd be on there for 3 or 4 hours watching some of the cutouts that we've got to do. So I think my personal, and people can do this differently, and we could have some more input on this, but my personal way I do it is I start off with, if I'm going to cut out an entire pattern, I want to show the whole thing that I've done. As a matter of fact, my next video will be like that, is I will start off in the beginning and show the beginning and do, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes and speed it up, and so that 10 or 15 minutes is probably half of that amount of time, and then I'll do a middle shoot where I'm in the middle of the pattern, and I'll do 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'll do the end and show it as I'm completed, and that's what I just did on my last video. It should be out the first of the week if I get time to edit it this weekend. It might be out a little sooner, and then speed it up. There's no use in sitting there and watching somebody with that blade going up and down for 30 minutes. There's nothing wrong with speeding up. And most of your other people that are out there doing videos, other than scroll sawing, I've watched a lot of them, and they do the same thing. They speed. If they've got like 20 boards to cut on a table saw, they only cut like out of the 20 boards, maybe 5 of them, and then they speed that video up, so you're not just sitting there being bored. I mean, I don't want to sit there and watch somebody cut 20 boards on a table saw. So.
That or stop the video and then say, okay, here's my 20 boards, or here's all my sandings done, or whatever. It's like, we don't need to watch you in your random orbital, taking 20 minutes to sand a piece. So you just say, okay, start it, cut it, and then come back to it after it's already sanded or whatever. So I know what I like on Charlie's, he does, like you're saying, he starts out, you know, showing the speed he's cutting at, and then he speeds it up to whatever 4 times or 16 times, whatever it is, and it says well how much faster he's cutting. You know, the video's going, but because some people think, Charlie, geez, you cut so, you know, those spiral blades, you cut so fast, and you're so good at it. It's like, well, watch his video and watch how he slows down the speed. It's like that's how you got to kind of be a lot slower with the spirals because you want to get that straight line and follow the line as much as possible. It's like it's actually a slow process. It's you know you don't want to be speedy with it or you're going to be flying all over the woods. So.
Yeah, so to answer your question, that's the way I would do it. I do a little bit in the beginning, a little bit in the middle, a little bit at the end, and then you can show the finished product. In other words, here's what I just did, and but that to me that would work out. Works out the best.
And show your process of how you apply your pattern. You know, do you trace it on the wood? Do you glue it somehow? Do you use a spray adhesive? Do you just tape it down or whatever? Just kind of tell them. You know, sure everybody may do it a certain way, but let them know how you do it. You know.
Yeah. Exactly. Include in it what you feel that, especially if you're doing something that not everybody. If you feel that you're doing something that you haven't seen anybody else do. I mean, definitely include that because you never know. Somebody might pick up on that and say, "Wow, I've been doing it I've been doing it all these years, and it's been 3 times harder than what I just saw. And I wish I'd have done that 20 years ago, so to speak."
Yeah, that or even mentioning why you do it that way. It's like, why is it your preference to do it that way as opposed to the way 90% of other people do it? Because if you get better results that way, great. Share. Tell us why you got those results you did.
That's exactly right. Now I use the old mineral spirits. I use the 3M45 spray glue and use mineral spirits to remove it. And I've tried the other methods. I go back to that method every time because I just like it. It's easy, it's simple, it's cheap, and so. But you might have a way that you do, and I might see it tomorrow and say the same thing. Hey, I've been using this for all those years, and I thought it was the best way, but by George, I just learned there's a better way. So.
Right.
I guess that's the last question. I hope I'm saying that right to whoever that is. Can you see it on the...
Plostrum Crafts is what it looks like.
Okay. I'm very bad, people. Trust me about pronunciation of names and words. Charles laughs at me all the time. I hope he's doing better. I hope you're doing better, buddy. We miss you. Well, I certainly do. But I have to admit one thing. I do appreciate you, Mark, for stepping in last weekend and now this weekend and helping out here. It means a lot. You're really good. I mean, I might have to think about changing Charles.
What
What am I talking about? It's Charles' show. He'll be thinking about changing me. He'll be replacing me with you, so I'll be out of a job. But yeah, you've helped out a tremendous amount. I just want to say thank you, and thank you for taking your time to help us out. And I know Charles appreciates it also.
All right, see you tonight, Charlie. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you tonight, and because I don't want to mess up for some reason the daytime ones turn out great. It's the night ones that mess up. I don't know why.
Maybe it's bandwidth. I don't know.
How many? We got 10 viewers. 10 viewers. So guys. Everybody say a little prayer for Charles to get better today. Hopefully he shows up tonight. That's about all I can think of. I think all the questions. Thank you guys. Great info. That's what I'm going to get. I've tried Russ's method patterns and it works great. Thank you. That was Plostrum Crafts. He says, thank you guys. Great info. I'm going to give it a try. I've tried Russ's method to glue patterns and it works great. I mean, I want to toot my own horn, but it's a simple, easy way to apply a pattern, and it's not only easy and simple, but it's very cost-effective also. And I would rather spend the money on the wood than I had on labels or stuff like that. So that's all I'll say about that. But I appreciate the comment. Thank you very much.
Scrolling with Russ and Mark.
Scrolling with Russ and Mark. Yeah. I had to throw that in about their. Replacing Charles, but said, what am I talking about? It's his show. Change it from scrolling with Charles to scrolling with Russ. They kill me when he sees this video.
We love you, Charlie.
I love you, buddy. So anyway, all right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. We've almost went a whole hour. I know we've got 12 viewers now. We popped up with 12 viewers, but actually I'm running out of things to talk about. Not unless people want to start popping in some. If you want us to stay on here a few more minutes, we got about maybe 10 more minutes before the show will be an hour long. Pop some questions in here real quick, and we'll hang on for another 10 minutes. I'll give it a second for people to do that. Doom, 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 doom. Like the show on TV, Jeopardy.
Jeopardy, yeah.
And they're waiting for that question to pop up.
3, 2, 1, nothing.
Nothing. All right. Yeah, I think we're just going to call it today. I've run out of things that I can think of on the topics, and I don't want to go any further because we're going to have topics on the show tonight. So
yeah. So if you think about the question now or later, 10 minutes to think about, write it down and talk about it tonight. So we'll be glad to talk about it. So
yeah. So with that being said, we appreciate everybody watching. We appreciate those who have sent in your questions. Thanks again to Mark. Hope you get to feeling better, Charles, and we'll see you tonight. And thank you, God bless, and remember one thing, keep the blade on the line.